Hi, it's Kat.
It's Candy.
Welcome to She Said We Said. This is going to be one of our Candy and Cat Chat episodes, and we have a special guest. We have my friend Melodie. Melodie, thank you for joining us today. These questions will, they're mind blowing sometimes. Um, just to give everybody like a quick introduction rundown. Me and Melodie have been friends for like 20 years. We met through a mutual friend. It's Melodie's best friend. And we formed a bond from day one. We have been through a lot. Melodie is the type of friend to me that she balances me. We can talk about anything. Melodie is that friend where we basically are in a group of women that I can honestly say we all have strong personalities, but we all get along.
Is she part of your kitchen table, like Michelle Obama talked about? She has a
yes. We have a kitchen. We have a large kitchen table.
Okay.
We do girls' nights, and we don't argue. We don't fight. I think we are a good definition of what real women, Black women, friendships can be. I really can say that. I could be on the last month. I remember I was going through something, and I got on Facebook. In the middle of the night, and Melodie was on her way to
actually about 4 in
like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I put a post up. When I tell you, she ain't gonna comment, she ain't gonna like the post, she gonna pull up and call. Well, why you up? What's this post about? And then I talked to her about it, and she's like, okay. We talk about it, and then she's like, go to sleep. Talk to you in a little while. That's like her personality, period. Like if I'm calling, I'm like complaining about life and she gives me the brighter side to it. So I'm just so happy to have you here because sometimes people don't know that we can really have good friendships and real people in our lives. And I just want to thank you for being my friend.
Aww, you're welcome. I thank you for being my friend as well.
Thank you.
I really feel it's important for us to support one another, and so that's why I'm here, because I want to go ahead and show you the support that we all need.
Thank you.
And Candy, I'm so proud to be here with you as well, and watching your podcasts. It's really inspired me, and I appreciate you, ladies.
Oh, thank you. See, and I was starting to feel left out. Brought me into the loop. Nah, it's all good. So, like Kat said, you guys are familiar with our Candy Cat Chat. So, we're probably gonna put out how many questions you want to do? Like 5 or 6?
5 or 6, because I think I want to. If we get a chance, if we have a little time, y'all know I want to touch on this stuff that's going on in the media. I always be wanting to,
Okay, so we don't have her hold her stuff because we don't know what she's talking about. So I'm just going to have each of you guys pull out 5 cards. Don't look at them. Pick out your... There you go. Look at you.
Look at Candy being like the Vegas dealer.
Right.
Shoot. She done went to Dubai and come back. What y'all was doing, blackjack over there?
We was doing a little bit of everything over there.
Ding, 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 ding.
I want some random questions.
So do you want to do it where, how we normally do it, where we rotate everybody in like a circle, or should one person ask the question and we all answer it? We do it 2 different ways sometimes.
Well, we can, what if do y'all want to, what if it's my own answer?
Let's ask. How do
you want to do? You're our guest. Want to?
Sometimes, she'll ask you a question and it's just your question. Or sometimes she'll ask your question, you'll probably be the first one to answer it, but then we'll all answer that question.
Or then sometimes we just butt in anyway, because, you've seen this, we just butt into the questions.
I think we should all answer the question.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you want to lead us off?
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I don't need my glasses today.
You sure? Because you say that and then she'd be all...
No, what prejudice did you have when you were younger?
What prejudices that I had?
See that word?
Right, exactly.
When you were younger, yes.
When I was younger. Okay, so, what prejudices did I have?
I had this one before, and I'm going to answer the same way.
I don't remember how.
When I was younger, like how young? Because I know, like, when I was a kid, I didn't even really think about prejudice or just prejudice, like prejudging, basically.
Well, just I guess your younger self, like when you did start, probably.
When you knew what prejudice was.
Well, I must have been knowing about prejudice a long time ago.
I didn't.
I did.
I agree, yeah, with her. So yeah, when you finally knew what prejudice was, so we'll go back to late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, one prejudice that I had was high school diploma. We were just talking about it.
Oh, we were just talking about
how,
it. Yeah.
you know, if you don't get your high school diploma, that you're not going to be able to make it in life. And I want to say within the last 5 years that I've been running my own business and watching different podcasts and like Bob Proctor and all of that. A lot of them didn't have a high school diploma. They only had education up to the 7th grade.
Wow.
And they're all like millionaires.
Wow.
And so I got my high school diploma pretty late. I graduated from Samieto High. I was 19. And I used to look at my friends and I used to be like, you didn't get your diploma. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And now it's like, you don't need your diploma. They don't teach you how to run your own business in school. You're going to school so that you can become an employee. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with becoming an employee if that's what you want to do. However, it's not going to go ahead and make you as successful as you can be.
No, that's true.
Because as an employee, you got to go ahead and take the raises given to you. But when you're owning your own business, you get to call your own money. You get to, you know, raise your money every day if you want. Exactly. So then that's one of my prejudices.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that is one because we were taught that, so it is.
I could see that, and I could definitely see you feeling some kind of way, right? Because that is like the stereotypical, like, you know, if you don't get your diploma when in 12th grade or, you know, graduate and walk that stage, you were kind of looked at as not necessarily a dumb person, right, or something, but, you know, just kind of like the outcast, you know.
Like a failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect word. Like a failure. And then, you know, watching all your friends walk the stage, and, you know, so I'm pretty sure it puts you in a certain situation. And now that you brought that up, I don't know if it would be so much as a prejudice, but I graduated high school, but I was pregnant when I walked the stage, which is I wouldn't say it was a, you know, I think the last time we did prejudices, we was trying to decide what's the difference between like prejudice and something else, right? But you know, another stereotypical, you know, shameful failure type of situation, being so young and, you know, then, I walked the stage, but, you know, I was like 6 months, 7 months pregnant, you know what I mean? So that stigma definitely stuck with me for a long time. And I definitely felt all the same things, the failure, being discriminated against, just how people look at you, viewed you, you know, thinking you wasn't going to be nobody. And listen, I graduated, got my diploma, I went to college, got my associates, went back to college, got my bachelor's, you know, was going to go back to college for my master's. So, you know, it's definitely, like you said, it's all about what you make it and what you want it to be, despite, you know, whatever the society thinks is the norm. You know what I mean? We create our own narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like with my children now, they're teenagers, and one of them did not graduate from school, and she does have a baby. And then the other one, she's struggling. And, you know, I get upset with them because they're not going to school every day. Because school does train us how to be, it trains us how to be able to go ahead and be consistent.
Have the basics.
And
being
have
on
the
time,
basics, being
discipline,
on time.
Social
Exactly.
skills.
All social skills.
Right.
All of that. It does do that for us. And that's what I want for them. Especially if you don't have that go out and get it mentality of starting your own business, then by all means get your diploma, because a lot of these places, they're not hiring you without a diploma.
Right. It's just the basics.
Right.
Shows that you can at least complete something.
Exactly.
Okay. That's it for me. What about you?
Dang, y'all went all deep with this one. And
You ain't gotta go deep.
Mine's is the same, I think.
What? High school?
When I noticed about, because it said something about when did you, maybe that's my question. Can I read the question again to myself? Oh, okay, yeah, that was when
Uh-oh.
my prejudice was about the story about the people, the neighbors who stole our dog.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I
We were
thought
trying to figure out.
yes, and that was my story. So I realized I didn't know then that was a prejudice until I got a little older. But my family, my great grandma lived next door to a Vietnamese family, and they stole our dog. And then my family went over, my uncles and my aunties went next door, and they were like, "You stole our dog, and y'all gonna eat our dog," because they said Vietnamese people eat
And
dogs.
I think we put a disclaimer on that episode that we did. It's gonna be in effect on this.
I'm just saying it's a disclaimer.
We don't have
I'm
a
just
problem
saying
with Vietnamese.
we don't have a problem with this.
Some of y'all do eat dogs.
So I will.
think I said that
I will
last
tell
time.
y'all this. I'm gonna tell you this. So basically, long story short, Chris was an old poodle. He was like one of those big poodles. I don't know how because he was a house dog. I don't know how he ended up getting outside. But anyway, after they got threatened, and my auntie and my uncle then went over there and was like, "We know you stole our dog, and y'all think y'all gonna eat him." We called the police and stuff. Like, it was a big deal.
Ooh.
This was like my great grandma's family. This is our family dog. So
Right.
they found Chris. The highway patrol and the Richmond police found Chris on the freeway on Cutting. Yes, they had dropped him off. And then my uncle then went back over there and knocked the door and said, "Yeah, well, y'all dropped him off because y'all was trying to eat our dog."
Oh.
So when I was little,
So he kept it going even
Yeah.
after the dog was
yeah, because
found.
we going over there, we knocking, and so as growing up, I always would see Vietnamese people. Sorry, Vietnamese, I love y'all food.
What are they?
Vietnamese, right? That's what they were. Vietnamese.
Now we saying it all. Now we all saying it wrong.
So
Vietnamese, right? Vietnamese.
Yes.
What did you say?
I don't know. Don't
Okay.
you trying to give me?
No, I'm not. I thought you said it a little bit different, and I want to
Vietnamese?
make sure I'm saying it right.
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese, right?
Okay.
That's how he said it.
Is that how she said it? Did you?
That's
hear
how
it?
she said
We
it.
gonna have to have a at the end of this video. It needs to be like something that said pronounces the name correctly because I know I'm saying it wrong. Vietnamese.
No, I think she said you said it right.
Oh, now you ain't saying it right.
Y'all know who y'all are anyway. So basically, that's what happened. Now, I know someone who just went. Just so y'all know, I'm not the only one who feels that way. Someone I know went to Indonesia, and the Indonesian people told that person, like, you be careful for the Chinese people because they eat dogs. So, I mean, the Asian country people were saying it about the other people. So I'm just saying, I just know as a kid, I would see them and I was like, oh, they eat dogs. So I was scared.
So this was a life lesson for you.
Yes, so that was my
People don't
prejudices
Okay.
towards. Because we thought before we had this question, I think we thought prejudice and racism was the same thing,
Yeah,
and we knew that wasn't. A prejudice could be something like.
Yeah, no, the prejudge. It means to prejudge.
Okay.
So yes, I prejudged them. I probably still do a little bit.
You just said that was a life lesson that you don't.
It was a life lesson that
You don't judge Vietnamese people.
you just
We
don't eat the
like
chicken.
Viet. Now I would say, never mind.
Okay.
Your question.
Next question.
Okay.
We're gonna have to fix this up really
pull
good.
That comment right back on in.
That's what happens. You know, we just.
Okay. So, what is one opinion you're glad you no longer hold?
Oh, one opinion I'm glad I no longer hold. One thing that I do like about these questions, and the point of us doing these Candy and Cat Chats, is because they're kind of like sporadic. It's supposed to invoke your initial thought and your, your answer without being scripted or having time to think about it. You know what? I want to say. Read the question again.
What is one opinion you're glad you no longer hold?
So I could do that a bunch of ways, but I am going to say all men are not dogs. Right? Ooh. That is probably an opinion. And there's a bunch that I could probably talk about and speak about. Mm-hmm. But as I've gotten older, growing up, and I wouldn't just say it was just my mom per se, but she was a single parent, you know, and always would, you know, would have comments about men. Sometimes you see women on TV and the women in your family, and all men are dogs is something I heard, right, as a child somewhere. But they're not. I've learned that as women, we have to be accountable for our own actions, right? And these men that you are projecting to be dogs and to be this and to be that, really it's our own fault sometimes. They're really, so half the time they're just being the men that they claim to be, but you want them to be different. You expected them to be different. You were hoping they were going to be different. You thought they were different, and you didn't listen to what they were saying to you when they told you this, and you know, you just kind of ran your own course, and then now all of a sudden everything's all done and over with, and you feel like, oh, this man a dog, and you know, dragging his name through the mud when really it was you. It was you. Yeah. So I'm real big on women taking accountability for their action. Now, there's going to be some men and some people who going to probably think I'm full of shit, or maybe, you know, I disagree with that, which is not true. I definitely do. You know, they say women don't take accountability at all, right? Not true. We do. And for the record, I am on TV or internet, whatever you want to call it, live, saying that not all men are dogs. I don't think that all black men cheat, or men, period, and that sometimes it's our own fault. So that's an opinion that I am glad I no longer hold on to, because I don't approach men like that anymore. I let them show me who they are before I prejudge them and just assume all men are dogs.
Right. No, yeah. I get it.
What about you, Kat?
That all Republicans are bad. I said it. That's my opinion now, because I used to think that because I'm a Democrat, I would think that anything a Republican said or did was bad. I no longer think that. I think that there are good Republicans. I don't think that what political party you vote for now is really what you stand for. Is not. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not with the orange dude, but I do listen to, I'm a really political person, so I do listen to all the opinions, and I do sometimes hear some things that, as a Democrat, I would say, sometimes I'm like, I'm listening to these other people too, because their opinions make sense. Like, some of the stuff, sometimes it's like we want to help way too much, just really with that shutdown and all that stuff. It made me start thinking about my opinion about stuff, because I start thinking dang, we always, as a Democrat, we always want to give everything to everybody, but we need to focus on, I see where the Republicans and the other parties are more you need to focus on us. And I agree with that. So that would be my opinion that changed one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's real.
I like that one. What about you?
What opinion? Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback off of that just a little bit. So you know how when Obama and Trump was going against each other, and for the presidency, and they were talking about taxes. You know, where's your taxes? Have you paid taxes to Donald Trump? Okay. However, and you know, I used to think the same thing. But now that I'm running my own business, it's like, if you have a corporation and you're running your own business, and if you find yourself having to pay taxes, in the end, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Donald Trump, you know, he's a businessman. And you can go ahead and write off lots of things, and you're just playing the game, and it's not illegal.
It's not illegal. You did a lot of things. Normally, you mentioned your business several times. Normally, sometimes what we do is we'll have our guests do kind of like a brief introduction of who they are, what they do. Do you mind doing that right now? Because I want to know what you do.
So I run a janitorial company. Okay. It's Straight to the Point Incorporated. We have about 14 to 15 accounts. I started in 2018. Okay. And, you know, I'm still going strong. I do have some good ones actually, like one with Solano Family Children's Services, one with Lifelong Medical Care,
Okay.
and I also have a subcontracting agreement doing 3 airport towers.
Okay. Nice.
And so since I've been doing it, I've been learning more about taxes, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, write-offs and everything else, and
you get
how
the good tax
it
breaks.
works
Mm-hmm.
really well.
Okay.
Like, so say for example, if you're working as an employee and they're taking their taxes out before you can even see your check.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and there's barely anything that you can write off. Mind you, when you do write it off, it's after they done already took their money.
So that's the difference between being an employee, like she said, and then taking the taxes out before you even see your money versus being a business owner. You're responsible for doing all your write-offs and doing your own taxes at the end of the year. So it definitely makes a difference.
And then the government gets their money afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
Okay, that makes sense how you can relate to. I mean, like I said, to be honest, before all the presidential stuff, Trump was a cool dude in my eyes. I watched the show.
yeah, everyone loved him.
Yeah, I just don't think he was. He just ran the country kind of like how Dollar Bill was running Players Club to me, and so the way he would get
Don't
up there.
call him Dollar Bill.
He was just like,
He
but
probably was.
but on certain aspects, it's like he is a businessman, and everyone did like him. But it was just like you kind of made us a little nervous when you like getting up there making these speeches, and you're kind of like, "Ooh, boy, what you doing?"
Right.
But other than that, yeah, I can understand like the business aspect. I mean,
Because we don't know.
No.
We're not from the business. Well, usually we're not from the
We're
business
not
side.
taught
There's
that.
those 1%ers who know.
And he grew up in the business.
Right, exactly.
I mean, his daddy gave him money. We not like that. Ain't nobody just handed us some money.
Wasn't his daddy or his grandfather like part of the KKK or something anyway?
Yes.
Something like that.
They just gave him money to start his own business, his life.
Yes, generational.
Generational money.
Yeah.
We don't know nothing about that. We trying to.
You know about the
hopefully-
generational curses and the
We don't know
generational
the
bills.
money.
Right.
We know that generational money.
We don't know about that generational money.
money.
Okay, my turn. I am playing around with my cards.
What are you
And-
playing?
Well, because I'm trying to make sure I get a good one. And my other disclaimer for today, because my nails are not done. And they're not done because I didn't feel like it. Yeah. So,
She's
just
like,
in case anybody's looking, because I always say things because we already know anybody, when you come on a camera, any type of camera, once you put it out to the public, you're open to anything. So you got to be okay with that, right?
Right.
I'm okay with it, right? Just in case anybody ever decide to come for me for any old thing, you go ahead and wear yourself out, because I do what I want to do when I want to do it. And sometimes I'm not always together. We're not always together, and we don't always have to be together, right? As long as you're comfortable with who you are, how you are, that's the only thing that matters. So, yeah, I didn't feel like doing all that. So, okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, it's me.
What dreams have you given up that you wish you hadn't? I think I answered this one before.
I think I said this before.
It's always a good one. What dreams did you give up that you wish you hadn't?
Oh, people ain't gonna like me. But I wish I would have. I wish when I went to school for criminal justice, I wish I would have continued and became a crime scene investigator.
CSI.
Because I went in intentionally. Of course, everybody know. My goal was at first, not when I went to school, but I want to be a firefighter, but y'all know I don't like fire. So I had to reverse, change that around. And then I wanted to be a police officer. So I went to school for criminal justice, to Solano Community College, and spent 2 years there and was like, I love this. This is what I love to do. But then when I started doing because you have to do all these courses, and we did crime scene investigating, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I did ride-alongs with the police, and I was like in there, saw one man, I did a Vallejo ride-along, and the man had fell down the steps.
Oh.
He was at the bottom of the steps in like a basement, and the officer was like, what do you think happened? I was like, oh my God, he must have came and we fell. I was like, or someone pushed him. And so, you know, I'm like at the crime scene and I'm like,
Cat Lou on the case.
yeah, like I got this, you know. And then life happened. Like I needed to. I mean, I got an associate degree, but then I couldn't go to 4-year college because I had to pay bills and take care of my daughter. But I wish I would have been that person to say, okay, I'm gonna do it, or have that support in a mate where you can kind of like, you know, don't use that. I mean, I use that as an excuse, and I wouldn't want anyone to use that as an excuse now because just keep going. Like that's why I look at my daughter. So like my daughter has really worked hard, and I'm like, dang, I wish I would have. And she's doing it with
Kept
2
that
kids,
same
with 2 little kids, and I'm like, I wish I would have had that drive more to just not be focused more on like, okay, I can't do both and be a parent. I wish I would have went forward with it because I think I would have been on the case. I would have been solving crimes. I would have been like,
We just saw you hosting Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, I would have my own little unsolved mystery. I would have been on court TV, like analyzing, like y'all see this. I would have knew OJ did it before OJ did it.
I always ask, you think he did it?
Yeah, I think he did it.
You think he did it?
I think he did it.
I drove the crime scene.
Love is that was a passion.
I'm still on the
passionate
fence.
crime. Yeah.
I think he knows who did it. I don't know. I know that
was just like the best
thing.
Like,
I know. Okay. We'll be here all day talking about OJ.
yeah, we know OJ. Like it was
right.
Okay.
That part.
You?
So and it wasn't always my dream. However, now that I think about it, I wish I would have joined the military.
Really?
the world.
Yes, exactly. I could have traveled the world at a young age for free. So basically,
Ain't got an education.
all of that.
Ain't got a VA loan for a house.
Right. All of that.
Oh, that's
So-
too many benefits for me. Then I could have shopped at the commissary.
Okay, I took the
just-
ASVAB test in high school. And I passed, and they all called me. I mean, the Marines, the Air
You
Force,
could have went to the Air Force.
the Navy, the Army, and the Coast Guards. They all
Oh, you
wanted
had
me.
everybody calling.
Yes, and I had scored my highest in mechanics.
Wow.
Oh, you could have been.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we.
However, I was scared, and I didn't want to stop smoking my weed. And you know,
You don't want
they
that drill sergeant all in your face.
Right. Although I was, you know, I was very fit as a teenager, and I could have done it, but I didn't do it. So
Interesting.
That is a really good one though, because you do that. I mean, and a lot of times.
And you didn't even know that, right?
No.
So this is one of the things too. If you looked at one of our past episodes, we were always talking about,
You learn
even though
stuff.
you learn stuff, you know, you be friends with people for so long, but there's always something new to learn. Because I was looking at her face when you said that, she's like, like I can't believe it, but yeah. So
Because that's
really
a
good.
great. Because a lot of nowadays people discourage their kids a lot from doing it because they
I'm
think about
doing
the
it.
war, and I don't think you should discourage them. I think because now I'm thinking I had a cousin, Yana. We were always together. My uncle, I know he was in the army. She is his only daughter. She went into the Navy, I believe, or Air Force, and she ran with it. And I'm like, wow, just to do it and travel though. I mean, the free travel, the school. I mean, later on, I thought I was like, dang, I could have went and did the MPs. I could have been a military police.
It's a tricky slope because until you hear about what some of the people, the war vets and stuff went through, like nobody wants to see their child going off to war. That's one.
But
And then hold on, you don't want to see them going off to war, but then when you start to realize that these wars and all this stuff are being fought, which makes no sense, right? Which is just, let's just say United States being messy. I'm just throwing it out there, right? But these wars are like not even for nothing. So you're sending people over there to fight these wars and kill and die for no reason.
But what we don't educate our people on is where do you go? You got to know who goes to war first. Like Army and Marines, they're always gonna go first. But if you're in the Air Force, you're not going to war like that. If you're in the Navy, you're not going, because it depends on who we're fighting.
So the Air Force, they're not dropping bombs?
you're not, but you probably ain't gonna be a fighter, a Air Force fighter person.
But you don't know that.
It depends on what level. The first to go to war is Army and Marines.
Okay.
If you go in the Air Force, you probably got an easy peasy job. You go in the Navy, you sitting in the water. You're not. I mean, if you really think about it, it's where you go. If you go, most of the Air Force people.
So I don't know, because you brought up the Navy, and I have a friend.
It depends on who we're fighting.
But
not
listen,
everyone has the
because
same
I'm not
equal
talking about
things.
that. I'm saying that I have a friend who was actually in the Navy. Yeah, he spent time on the boat, but he said that they had to. He said it was psychologically whatever, because even though they was on a boat every day, they had to prepare to die. It didn't matter that they didn't go to war, they didn't go to not. They were pretty much almost like sitting ducks, and their whole training, even though he never had to go to war, their whole training and their whole drilling was just to prepare for war. And he was just like, and I think I told you that, he was just like, man, they will teach you, like, this is your brother, but if he's stuck on the other side of that wall and we need to cut that part of the ship off and lock him out there, you got to watch him die.
Yeah, but mentally, I mean, I have uncles and cousins that have been in different branches and been in war and stuff and been and retired. The thing is, of course, it's a mental game too.
Right.
I don't care if you're the cook ain't doing nothing. Not saying nothing bad about the cook, but the cook ain't really going. He cooking.
He's still stuck on that boat.
But what I'm saying is, if you're depending on what your job is, mentally, when you go through training boot camp, they have to mentally prepare you for that and tell you stuff like that. But the average person is not going. It depends on what branch you're in. You're not doing that. We scare our people out of it, and it's unfair because a lot of kids could be going to the military, get education, get travel the world. I mean, I know I have a lot of family who loved it because they got to travel everywhere in the world for free. And then you come home and you got all these benefits still. So we always think, oh, it's war. We're not always at war, for one thing. And then the other thing is, we all gotta die one day. So if you're gonna die at war, you're gonna die no matter what. That's how I look at it. But I think that we should stop telling our kids, like, don't do this.
Who tells their kids that, though?
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of black families.
I don't know nobody who tells their kids that. I have a friend right now. Both her son is in the Air
I know a
Force in
few
Japan.
people, and that mentioned like their kids want to go to like military, and they're like, no, no, and I'm like, talk about this country. You got to fight for this country. We're not even at war now.
Are we not at war now?
We're not at war.
That's another topic.
We're
Because some
not.
people will disagree with you.
Other countries are at war. The United States is not at war.
Right, the United States technically is not at war, but the United States are allies to these other countries. And I was sent an article where they've already shipped people out, though, to help and aid those other countries.
But if you pay attention to the news,
so yeah, the United States is not at war.
When we're shipping people out, there's a limit to it. We're not engaging. We will not engage. If we engage, then we go to war. We're not engaged. Like when we're in Ukraine, we're giving them stuff, but there's a limit. We're not engaging. Engaging in war and us entering into a war is one thing. We are not a country at war. We are doing what every other country is supposed to be doing and helping each other.
Backing them up in the
but not engaged. No. There's a whole process of going to war. Like they would have to, the Pentagon, all these people would have to agree to a war. We're not at war.
Right, for the United States to be in a war. I get that part.
Yeah, so we're not at war. We're just assisting, but we're not going in there dropping bombs. We're not shooting. We're not sending anybody in to be aggressive towards any country.
I don't know. We'll have to save that for another one.
Just
topic.
Look it up.
Yeah, I see it's a lot that's going on right now. That's been going on for a long time. So I would probably disagree with you until this is one of those she said, we said moments. I would probably have to
just gotta look it up because that's all it is.
It's
research.
Google it. Yeah,
I watch CNN every day. I already know that we know they work.
Yeah, I don't trust what you see on TV though all the time. So I would have to do a lot more research.
But it is a process.
CNN.
You can't just we would.
I know, no, stop that.
War.
So I know that there's a process for us, the United States, to declare war and go to war. But I know that there's a lot of other things that go on just behind the scenes as far as.
So if your son came to you and said, "I want to go to the military," would you be a mother who said no?
I wouldn't. It would be his choice.
Okay.
We travel already, right? My kids already travel the world, so he wouldn't have to. He wouldn't come to me and say, "Hey, I want to go to war, so I get to travel the world."
And if we were at war, a lot of us wouldn't be going out the country to different places. If we were really like at war,
But I'm not saying that we were at war. I know the United States is not in a war, but I'm just saying there's a lot of other things that's going on. And I know we send people and we have allies and we send people over there, and those are people's sons and daughters and stuff that's going over there. To where I have a couple of friends, like I said, that got children over there. And yeah, my other friend's son, he chilling. He loves Japan, he loves the experience. He's learning the language and all that other stuff. Yeah, but he's also preparing, because that's the whole point of going into these military, wherever you go. They're preparing you for it. They're preparing you for
if you ever had to go.
Exactly.
But you may not never have to go.
Right, but you don't know. My whole point is you don't know. There's mothers who are...
If I had a son, at the airport, I would prefer my son to go get all that training and go to the military than to be in this world that we in today, and then he could go out the front door and just have a conversation and get killed. That's if I had a son. That can happen
anywhere. So I would, and your daughter too, because it's not just limited to
daughter. Well, she wanted to go to the airport. She changed her mind.
So I wouldn't discourage either one of my children from going to any of those. I think that's great. You're right. The education. I have a coworker that I'm mad at right now because he bought a house and he told me his down payment was $1. $1 because of his VA vet, you know what I mean? Right. So, and I roll my eyes every time I see him. So I get all that, the benefits, the housing,
down payments now is like
all that other stuff. But sometimes you see different sides of it. There's also somebody I know who's a war vet and his mind is gone. You know what I mean? It's just we all never know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, there's aspects.
There's always that you never know how it's going to turn out. So yeah, it's just if it works for you. But I would never, if that's what they want to do, I would let them do it.
Yeah, I mean everybody mental is different. So you may go there and you may not never go to war, but just going in there, seeing certain things, or being a medic in a military setting, and you may not never get threatened at the war portion of it, but you may see someone with their legs cut off. You may see somebody arm gone. So yeah, I could see where you could mentally get messed up. I'm not saying that's not an issue regardless, but I think it's a great opportunity. If I was,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Right. Next question.
So, I didn't answer the question, and I think I'll make mine short. That I had goals that I had, or dreams. You could goals, dreams. You all think those are the same? Goals, dreams.
Dreams, yeah.
You think that's the same? So there were certain things that I wanted to do before I was 30 that I didn't do, and of course, like Kat mentioned, life happened. But I wanted to have my master's before I was 30. I wanted to speak either 1 or 2 languages. I wanted to be fluent in another language before I was 30. And it was something else. I never can remember the third one, but it was 3 things that I wanted to do. I wanted to have before I was 30. That was like my goal. That was like my dream to boom, 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 boom. And of course life happened, and I definitely gave up on them long before that.
They said that new app, y'all hear that? It's an app, and it's supposed to, it comes on all the time, and it talks about how if you want to learn a language, and it's supposed to teach you how to speak another language.
There's a bunch. I have Rosetta Stone on my phone.
Is it Babel? That's why
I've tried it, but you have to be disciplined, right? So now I'm a little older than 30, and I try to sit and do it, but I got 1,000 other things that's going on, right? So you actually have to you got to do it every day. You got to go in, you got to do it every day. It helps you with because I took French in high school, so I always loved the language. But you have to go in there. They teach you how to pronounce it. They make you say it and sound it back. And you go through these steps in these courses, but then you have to repeat them, and you have to do them so much every day. And then it helps if you have somebody that have a dialogue with. That's the other part that you don't get. Because if I'm the only one learning French, you know what I mean? I don't have nobody to talk to.
I always want to learn French. I took French in school.
Yeah, I always thought it was a nice language.
I'm not good at Spanish because I can't roll the R's good.
Oh, I can roll the R's real good.
See, I can't roll the R's. No, my grandkids are going around. Because they have a lot of Hispanics. I'm trying to do the right words. People corrected in their classroom, so now they go around. Adios and como está.
Está bien.
And that's they just learned they just got these 2 words. So, but when they see Hispanic people now, that's all they say. Adios, amigos.
They understand what it is, right?
I mean, yeah. So they made, it's easy for kids. And I was like, dang, they get it though. They know when to use it, and I guess they know who to use it with. So it would be easy for them to learn.
Are they being prejudiced?
No.
Prejudging? Like they know when to use it, so they
because
they
they know
do
they don't
look
say
like
it to
Latinos or
yeah, they say it to
right.
Latinos
that they think look Latino, right?
Well, so far they've been right, but
I
they don't just go around saying it to like us.
Sometimes.
They'll go when they seen the neighbor yesterday. We were leaving for the baby shower, and the neighbor was in her backyard. They said, "Cómo está? Adios, amigos," and wave, and they both saying it. I'm like, oh, okay,
So
well, they know.
Right.
They don't just say it to anybody. So I guess it'll be good for them to kind of probably learn early.
Okay. Well, let's do one more round because we are definitely on a time limit. So we'll just do last question.
At what age? Oh, that's a good one. At what age did you realize your parents were just regular, flawed humans? What made you realize that?
What made me realize that?
That you had your parents were just
No.
regular,
And at what age?
flawed humans, and what made you realize that?
Oh, that's a good question. I've never thought about that. Because I hold my mom to a lot because of all of the trauma that I've been through. So I hold her to a lot. But what made me realize that she was just human, I want to say, when I witnessed her dialogue with my grandmother as an adult. So I'm going to say this happened in 2014.
Okay.
It was grown.
Yeah, I was grown. And the reason why I say that is because I didn't realize how hard my mom had it with her mom until my grandmother fell down the stairs and came home. And from the nursing home. And I saw my grandmother cracking the whip. And my mother running back and forth as a grown woman.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I better, And my grandmother's like, Wonderland, because we're Cape Verdean. Mm-hmm. And so we speak Creole, which is Portuguese and African. Okay. Wonderland. And she's running back and forth. And it looked like she was really scared of my grandmother. Like, she better get up and hop to it and move it.
Oh, wow.
And it just made me realize, like...
Now, say what you are again? What is that?
I'm Cape Verdean.
I've never in my life heard of that. And if I'm being honest, I would probably sit here, I would think you just mixed with black and white.
Right,
She's the same nationality as Amber Rose.
I never knew what Amber Rose was.
That's what she is.
Oh, so you said it's a mix of what now?
African and Portuguese.
African and Portuguese.
So Cape Verde Islands is located off the west coast of Africa.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother was born and raised, and she didn't move to the United States until she was 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Goodness gracious. So do people always ask you, and I'm not getting off the subject, but we never know how our conversation's going to go. So now I'm intrigued, right?
Right.
So do you get that a lot? Like people always asking, like, what do you mix with? Or,
oh, yeah.
And when you say that, it's always like, what is that?
Mm-hmm. They ask me if I'm Puerto Rican. They ask me if I'm Mexican.
Oh, because your last name.
Yeah, because of my last name. So my last name is Gonsalves.
Oh.
Right? And how you pronounce it is like salves, or solve a question, but it's salves.
So is your father,
so
what's your mother and father?
They're both Cape Verdean.
Oh, they both Cape Verdean.
Yeah, they're both Cape Verdean.
Wow.
So, and his family is from another island.
Okay.
And since you travel the world, you got to go to the Cape Verde Islands.
I've never even heard of it. Yeah. So that's why I was just like, Portuguese and African, that sounds like a beautiful just mix of people. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is.
We were just talking about, you don't have to tell your age, but you heard me say like, man, you look good for your age, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I remember somebody was talking about Chile, because Chile's older, right? And she was like, oh, that's the Bangladesh. So I guess she's half black, half Bangladesh or whatever, but it just sounds like a beautiful, beautiful mix of people. But
and it's some beautiful, good food too.
I've never ever heard of that.
I know they make.
So do you find yourself kind of like, I don't want to say like isolated, but I mean, in all my years, this is the first time I learned something new today. But are there more Cape Verdean people out here that you would think?
Yes. So we do have a community out here, mostly in Sacramento.
Okay.
There is a few scattered around, also in Southern California, but most of us are on the East Coast.
Okay.
In Massachusetts, because we migrated to Massachusetts because of the whaling industry.
Okay. Wow.
And so there's quite a few celebrities that are Cape Verdean. There's Coi Leray, there's Benzino, there's
they act like niggas.
Oh, I didn't know Benzino.
They act like
was-
niggas. Like,
Yeah.
Let me just
Oh, I
sorry.
didn't even know
They
he
act
was.
like real
Yeah.
niggas.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all like
Right.
real Africans.
I'm just saying,
I'd have never-
I really did just
I
think
would've-
he was a light skinned
I would've
mixed
never
dude.
thought
I didn't think
Benzino.
I didn't know. I never even tripped off him like that.
dude. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So what's your I know we're gonna move on. We're gonna wrap this up too, but now I have to just talk. What is your your Thanksgiving is like, right? We all have traditional stuff.
Oh, we
because
have turkey and all that.
Oh, so there's nothing special on the
Yeah,
table.
no, there's nothing special on the
It's nothing.
table.
So y'all don't have no special dishes or nothing.
Oh no, we do.
Yeah, they got some
We do.
good
As a
stuff.
matter of fact, my sister and I, we made an agreement to go ahead and make it every month and sell it.
Okay.
Oh,
what is
so,
it?
It's
I missed it
machupa.
'cause I was sick.
Well, some part of the islands call it machupa, some islands call it kachupa,
Okay.
and so it's with stamp. Stamp is like a hominy, like the dried corn,
Okay.
and then kidney beans, lima beans, all parts of the ham,
Okay.
like spare ribs, ham hocks, greens,
Everything.
everything.
And it's kind of mixed.
Well, we use kale, but you can use greens too.
Okay.
So, and smoked linguiça. Have you heard of linguiça before?
I've heard of linguiça.
Okay, so linguiça is a Portuguese sausage.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
We're learning something.
It's pretty
new today.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I could talk to you all day, so let me shut up right now. Where were we
You
at?
answer your question.
No, she answered your question.
No, and it's your question now. You won't make me too.
So it was about when did we first realize our parents were normal?
At what age did you realize your parents were just regular, flawed humans, and what made you realize that?
So I would just say, I think for most of us, we don't really recognize that until we're adults.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pinpoint an age, but I don't have a problem with them being flawed because nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think my problem with my parents was just the lack of accountability, right? You're a parent. I feel like we have an obligation to our children despite what they've been through. And I think that's probably where I get put on the fence or people will disagree with me or whatever. But, I didn't ask to be here, just like my children didn't ask to be here. And it takes a lot to be a parent. And I don't think it's okay for, my mother or my father to say to me, well, I didn't know, or this is what I went through. So because what you went through, that means that this is what I had to suffer through or go through, whatever. Like, you should have took care of that. You know what I mean? Or you should have tried to take care of that. So it's not so much that they're flawed. That part I'm okay with. It's the fact that it's the excuses that I may have gotten or may hear, or just like I said, the lack of accountability about them being flawed and how it affected my life. Because you affected my life. You know what I mean? Like, you changed the whole course of my life because of your flaws.
Right.
And I haven't seen anything that you've done to correct those flaws. I've only seen you make excuses for those flaws. So that is my issue with that.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm going through that now.
Yeah. So that's my thing with that. So it kind of answers the questions, but yeah, I still hold them accountable to this day. Some things I just don't agree with, and you're not gonna tell me nothing different. You know what I mean? If you've been molested in the past, that should have been the first thing you do to make sure you protect your kids and make sure that, and I'm just using that as an example, but make sure they protected. You know what I mean? Like, you've been through it, so you should automatically know. So if you molested and I'm molested and you know what I mean, you knew all this stuff, how come you didn't protect me? And you can't say, well, I didn't protect you because this happened to me. And you know what I mean? Like, not like that's a bad thing or, like I'm being insensitive, but you know what I mean? Like, there's something missing, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it all the way, I'm not explaining it all the way, expressing it the way I want to, but I hope you get the gist of it. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop right there.
I'm gonna make mine really short and sweet. I knew, I probably knew that, I probably was like 10 when I knew that my parents were flawed because my parents didn't raise me. My mom was always in my life from the beginning because my mom had me when she was 15. So I was raised by my granny. I think I didn't know wasn't normal. Like I didn't know at first, I think when I had the same friends, so I think one day, I guess you have an awakening, an epiphany. You like, somebody said, why you don't live with your parents? Like, because everyone had parents that they lived with. And I remember we were playing one day and they were like, why your mom come over, but you don't live with her? Why you don't leave with her? And I was like, oh, because to me, it was never different. And I was like, oh, that's different. Then I started looking like, oh, you do have both your parents here, or you live with your parents. And then with my, I guess, the person who helped me other person who helped give me life, I guess I knew something was, I probably thought, I didn't probably think, I thought daddy was in jail too. I'm sorry. Oops. My mom was 15, my dad was 17, and since I can remember, he was in and out of prison all my life until actually 2017. He was always in and out of prison. It was, now my grandparents, luckily I grew up where my grandparents knew each other. They all grew up together and they were friends. So that family bond was kept together with my siblings because of my grandparents. And the mothers involved, they kept us all together with him. But I mean, he wrote me letters from prison. He called. When he would come home, I would see him. But that was my normal. Like, I thought until I was like, oh, your daddy's not in jail? And people would be like, no. Oh, your daddy's not in jail?
It's not, it's funny, but it's not funny.
Right.
But it's not funny when you're growing up and you're like, hey, your dad, is it just me who got a daddy in jail? And it's just never been, my youngest sister is 29 years old, and she actually didn't meet him in person until a year ago, 2021.
Oh, wow.
January of 2021. So it's been, 2 years? She met him in person, and probably out of that time, she's probably only been around him 2 or 3 times. So it's just like, that was my, my mom, my mom always been, she's been the center of my life forever. So it's never been like, other than not living together, all the decisions, everything, she still was a part of everything. She just was a young mother, so she didn't, then she didn't just want to disrupt our lives by the time she got old enough. It was more like, I don't want to really take you away from everything, because my mom didn't even live in Richmond anymore. She lived in Oakland, and she would just be like, why would I take you from everything, your core? And I understand it now. I used to be kind of confused, like, why didn't you just come get me? But yeah, you wouldn't want to disrupt, all the relationships I already have. Why would you take me away from that to give me somewhere new? And, but yeah, that was, and then I guess he's always been, the other half, he's always been flawed, because even now we have no relationship at all with none of his kids. Like, he has no relationship. Unfortunately, I think it's like a topic for later with the prison system. I think it took him, I want to say, in my opinion, it seems like it took his feelings, like he doesn't know the connection or the love or emotionally attachment to us. I think even in the contact, like, it's more like I don't even know you, like, do you want to get to know us? But it's at a point now where it's like, I'm 47, do I need to get to know you? I don't have daddy issues, I'm not yearning for anything. So it's more like, we see each other for who we are. That's how I get it. I don't hold you. You don't owe me nothing, dude. You ain't never paid child support. He probably bought me one thing in my life, and I'm not trying to dog
Do you
it.
think
It's just like
subconsciously you don't have daddy issues?
I don't, because
I was
How do
thinking
you
about that.
Yeah, right. How do you know that you don't? Because a lot of times we tell ourselves.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna be very honest, and these people might think I'm cold, but I'm glad he's married, because guess what? If they was to call, I don't ever want to be his next of kin. I never want to. I'm glad I'm not the oldest, because I don't even think I would cry. That's how I don't care.
That makes me feel like you have daddy issues.
No, it don't. It make you feel like once my heart is stone on you, I give you that stone, and I don't have an issue. I have no issues. I blocked him from my phone. I don't talk to him. And you already,
but that is an issue.
No, that was an issue because something
Lack
happened.
of relationship.
No, that was an
with
issue
someone who
because
gave
someone
you love.
lied to me. Because you don't get to lie to me anymore in my life. After this year, you don't get to lie and play your little games, and you don't get to do that with me. So I will disconnect you. My cutoff game be serious. Like if I cut you off, because I'm an Aquarius, and y'all know I love hard. I love people. But if I have to cut you from my life and disconnect the cord, no. Especially after this year. No. It's not an issue. It's not. The only reason I thought about him was because of this question.
Right.
I don't even think about him. Like it's not a conversation that needs to be had. It's nothing. It's really like, if he watches this episode, unfortunately, it's nothing. And he knows that. Like, it's nothing. It's not an emotion. It's not a tear. It's not a feeling behind it. It's more like I'm cool. Glad you got a wife now, because I never want to get the call because I don't care.
I hate that we have to wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
I hate that we have to stop.
And we're not going to have a daddy episode, so don't worry. We ain't giving him that much power either.
We're going to have a daddy's issues episode.
No, we're not.
We're going to have a daddy's issue episode later on down the line. But this is like one of the things that I love about the She Said We Said platform is that, again, people, emotions are real, they're raw, they speak truth, and that's what makes these conversations good. Whether me and Kat agree with something, we don't agree with something, whether her transparency is always appreciated, right? Like I always walk you don't know this, but I always walk a fine line with you when it comes to talking about situations with your parents, right? Mm-hmm. To me, just from on my end of hearing it, I always think you're brave, right? I don't know what that's like. As many issues that I've had with my mother, that I might have mentioned before, but as many issues as I had with her, I don't know what it's like to not have her, right? Or to have her come in and out or not be around. So I always handle you fragile and with care. Oh my God, Mama's gonna. I'm looking at you, and you look like you about to cry. Are you about to cry?
I can see you about to cry. Like, why?
Well, my eyes they make it water, but because I've never. I am about to cry. That is weird. Because and it's really just my care for you. Because to have you not have when I hear your story, you never really had your parents, right? You've had your granny, and I know how important she was and how much she meant to you. But to be a little girl and not have your mom, as horrible as whether she was a good mom or a bad mom, or even your father, good father, bad father, I see you as not having them and not having certain things. And it's going to feel different to you. But I just always admire and expect and respect your bravery when you talk about them. And I really don't push you as much as I want to, because I have like 1,000 questions for you, right? Because I don't know what that's like, right?
Yeah, but I want to be honest, and we can do a future episode about that. You don't have to walk with candle with kid gloves when it comes to my parents. My mom.
I know. That's why I don't. It's okay.
No, my mom was
Thank you.
everything.
I know.
Whether she was in the household or not.
I know.
So that's more of when I get teary-eyed when I hear about my mom. The one thing I will say about my mom that always brings me joy is, after 25 years of not being on this earth, I can talk to anyone who I run into, her friends, people, and they say the same thing. They'll come to me and say, you know what? I knew your mom. Your mom was always a great person. Your mom always loved people. So I always want to live my life like that, because I said, when I'm gone in 25 years, if I'm not here for 25, I want someone to go to my daughter and always be like, you know what? Your mom was always this person.
So here's where I
So
feel for
that's
you,
where-
because your daughter is gonna already know that you're that person because she had you, and she had you with her.
Yeah.
You raised her. Whereas you have to hear these things, these wonderful things about your mother through the.
But my
voices of other
22 years
people.
of having my mom on this earth, even though it's not a long time, I
Right.
wish she could have been here for all I've been through. I wish she
Right.
could see my grandkids and all that. But my mom was like this phenomenal woman, even though she didn't raise me. She was there she wasn't in my household every day, but she was there every day. She would do whatever. I remember somebody needed my car fixed. My mom was like, hold on, Brian go pawn his guitar. And he pawned his guitar to get my little car that used to catch on fire.
Oh.
It probably didn't even need the car used to get hot, and I had an oil leak and it catch a little fire, and I had to pour the water on it. It was a hoopty. Wow, it was a whole hoopty. And she still, with that dang old hoopty, she still made sure I got that car fixed. So that's why I say, like, that is someone who went above and beyond no matter what for me. Her and my granny and my aunt, they always make sure that, so I always look back. But that's, when you have an absent parent that's completely absent and then continues to be absent because they choose to be, that's how it's easy for me to be like, okay, I'm done. And my boundaries are pretty much, I give a lot of chances. So my boundaries now, it's like I have to do that for protection for me, because at the end of the day, I've had a horrible year.
Mm-hmm.
And then continue to see someone go through things and you see their reactions, you're like, you know what, when people don't care about you, sometimes blood or not, you got to be like, let that person live their life and let me live in my comfort zone and in my bubble. And I can't allow it. I used to allow everybody in my bubble. I told you before, come here, you could be my friend. I love you. No. Now I have a bubble, and that bubble is secure. Like, it's like Fort Knox in there. You ain't getting in there.
I guess my part of my thing is with all the issues, because being raised by my mother, all the accountability, good and bad, went to her, and it's almost like my father got a free pass, which he shouldn't have, right? Because it takes both of them. So in order to whether I forgave her for this or for that, whatever, then I would have to give the same grace to him maybe or not, right? But it's been just for me to hold them both accountable. So like when I think about, all the parts where they messed up on this side or that side, I'd be like, well, he's just as responsible as him. Now, whether we didn't live together, they was never married, there's plenty of years that I didn't see him and all this other, you know what I mean? Like little things like that you think about as a kid, but I used to put all my ownness and everything on my mother. Because she was the one who raised me, so everything that went good or went bad or whatever, the blame was always her fault, when really he should have been held accountable too. So, and I look at it both ways, on the good side as well as, all the good things my mother did. Well, my father did some good things on this side too, but I just realized, like, as an adult, like it was just all pretty much on her,
and I wasn't the best
like
kid.
he didn't even exist.
I probably gave I gave my granny and my mama a run for their money by the time I was like 14. Like, I was like, pew, 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 pew. Like, they probably was like, girl, if you don't sit down. But I just felt like I want to be free. And I just kind of,
I'm hard on parents. Let me just be honest. I am really hard on them, because they had an obligation to us. You know what I mean? Just like we have an obligation to our children, and their parents had an obligation to them. Like, I am a lot harder on us, even myself. I'm not perfect, right? And I, talk to myself about the things that I do wrong, that I need to do better. And it's not about being perfect, right? It's just about, there's certain things that I owe them. Like, there's certain things that I owe.
Yeah, we owe them, and we always want to do something that we want to see. The whole goal is, I know what I did, so I want to make sure you a better human than me. I want to make sure I push you above and beyond, because now I see it's more. I want you to, where I see where I kind of messed up at and was running around here doing, like, dang, go on, And our kids, they looking like, I remember I used to want me to play every sport. Right. And she'd be like, girl, you should have played these sports. You trying to live your life through me, and then I have to think about it. Like maybe I am, because maybe if I would have been at school
your
instead of cutting
parents would've
classes,
been-
I
right.
wouldn't have been. I could have been a cheerleader.
But that's so funny because like with my daughter, like my oldest one, she's 27. You know, she's done traveled. You know, she's been to Portugal, Morocco,
Wrote a
Spain. Wrote a book. You know, does public speakings and stuff like that, and everything that she's doing, I've wanted to do. However, I didn't push it off on her. It's just that she did it. And it amazes me. She's not talking to me right now, but you know,
okay.
it just you know, then that's a thing with the parent thing, you know.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah.
to work the parents.
Oh yeah.
I think we ran our cameraman off for a minute. So, any last things? He'll work on the edits. Any last little things you guys want to mention? This
Candy don't even be crying
This
like
is,
that.
I really don't. So I don't know if I don't know if my cycle is getting ready to start. I don't know if I'm overly emotional for some other reason. Sometimes when you're going through things, it's you don't really realize you're emotional until something's coming up. But all
You
I
can
know,
ask me anything. You don't have
so
to know
I just
anything.
I don't want to do that because first of all, I always talk about knowing the type of woman that you are, right? I know that I'm going to ask you questions that I feel like that may offend you. It may upset you because in order for you to get to the root part of it is having those awkward and hard conversations. But I don't know that I express myself well enough to know that my intentions are always good intentions, but like I'm gonna ask you some questions because I want to know. I'm gonna ask you some questions that you may not have asked before, but it's probably gonna make you defensive, and it may make you feel some kind of way when you're already feeling some kind of way, right? I'm not gonna ask you any negative things like about your mother per se, right? But there's probably gonna be some questions that I would ask you that may not sit well with you because I would want to know like those specific questions if that's making sense. But it's always a touchy subject for me, and I always want to make sure that you're in a good space, and so I just never know, what that looks like because I don't ever think it is a good space to talk about that. But we'll have to unpack that at another time.
But I'm not. There's nothing about that would make me. I mean, if I would tell you, like, I don't want to answer that. If it's something I feel, if it's a protective moment, depending on what it is, I would just tell you I wouldn't want to answer it.
Okay.
Or because I'm very open with people about, I don't, and then I've never really shared a lot of like stuff about my mom with you, so I don't know. It wouldn't be something that I've said that could make you like ask me. That would be offensive. I don't think so. I think you're just being protected because I don't have my mom. And that's such a wound that's always there.
That could be it.
Yeah. I mean, it's 25 years. I can tell you, when people tell you, oh, time heals all, it gets better with time. It never gets better. I think about her every day. The difference is, I always tell people, the difference in thinking about her every day was I don't cry every day. There's not a day that goes by that I'm like, dang, I wonder what my mom would do. Oh, my mom would laugh. My mom would do this. So, like, my granny, if I think about it too long, I'll cry. Like, when I think about her story, I cry because it's still new.
Right.
But with my mom now, it's more like, oh, that's so funny. Or I see a picture of her and I'll be like, ugh. She used to always tell me, she got them legs, so it was just those different things. So it's really nothing no one can. I love talking about it. It's my girl. Like,
okay.
Now, the other person, yeah, I can see myself getting
upset about that.
Not really upset, but more like I have to come to a point where I don't want to always. I try not to like for instance, something happened a few months ago that triggered the whole let's cut this completely off now. And then when that happened, I remember a question came up. We were taping that day, and a question came up, and I refused. I just said no, I don't want to answer it this time. And it was something I had to do with a parent, and I said I declined because that day it had just happened, and I felt like I really was
I talk about my reaction level, how I've worked on that with going to church and getting better with my tongue lashing. That day I would have lashed him to death. I think he would have just been like, I never want to watch your podcast again, because he secretly watches. So.
See, and so we're gonna wrap this up, Rue, and so I'm gonna wait until we cut off, so I'm gonna ask it later. So thank you for joining us on She Said We Said. We definitely were doing our Candy and Cat chats. We had our beautiful guest here. You're gonna see her again because we're gonna come back. We're getting ready to take a break, and we're gonna even get a little bit more deeper. And it's so crazy because Kat did not want to ruin her makeup, but it looks like she ended up ruining it anyway. But we'll be back. You want to tell them anything real quick, Kat?
Get y'all tissues for them other episodes, because I feel like.
I don't know.
Oh, I'll tell y'all, go Niners.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
It's still Libra season, so FYI, she had on her, I thought it was a sweatshirt when you came in here. So I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to match her energy and get my red hoodie sweatshirt, because it's still Libra season, so I'm representing Team Libra. But thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Deuces.
Bye-bye.